Everybody, as you're coming in, please let's share the broadcast, whether you're tuning in from Facebook or from YouTube or the other platforms as well. Please invite as many people as possible. We are talking about relationships today. Let's get to inviting. Everybody just open up your invite and shares. Let's get everybody in the broadcast. Let's invite. Hi, Mirai. Welcome. Let's invite, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining me. We are about to have some fun today. Let's invite, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get ready with our journals so that we can learn. Please let me know if I am audible and everybody can hear me. Hi, this is Audrey. Hi, Mariah. Welcome. Remember to click on the like button. Remember to subscribe to my page, Fortunel Online, and subscribe also to Dr. Takunda Mara's page as well. Is everything clear? Is everybody's able to hear me? Share the broadcast to your WhatsApp groups, to your friends, your family members, your frenemies, everybody who needs to be here. Okay, we're going to start very soon. I see people are coming in, so nobody has said anything, so I guess everybody can hear me very well and clear. Are you guys ready for some relationship talk tonight? It's very cold. It's freezing. That's why I'm rubbing my hands, rather. Almost said my ears. Tonight we're talking about a subject that is very close to my heart. I don't know whether it is because probably I've written so much about it, but let's see how we do tonight. We're talking about breakups, in particular divorces. And we're also talking about how one heals from a divorce and how one gets to move on. In particular, tonight, we're going to look at the first step, and the first step will be the healing process. How do you heal from that process? Now, why I say I am particularly close to the subject, not necessarily having gone through it, but having gone through it indirectly through so many couples interactions during counseling, coaching, or whether through legal processes. So I got to understand the depth of divorce and how people can be left distraught, how people can be left, ill-equipped, so to speak, on how to handle the situation. But what matters is that we need to heal from the process, right? We cannot be stuck in the process, but we need to heal, right? So today we're going to be looking at those aspects. The aspects from those people who are not necessarily married, but they go through a divorce because it was a very intense relationship they may have been in, and it was very possibly there might have even been children coming from that breakup. So tonight's message is really going to touch on not only the divorced people or people who are about to go into a divorce, people who are going through a divorce, people who have been divorced, but also people who have been in very serious relationships, who have partnerships. So I guess everybody's ready. Let me know in the comment section whether you are ready that we go on and we go through some teachings. If you're ready in the comment section, I want you to type ready. Type ready in the comment section if you are ready. Good evening, Miss Chido. Hi, welcome. Tonight we're talking relationships. If you are joining us, if you've just joined us, we are talking relationships tonight, and we're talking about breakups, divorces, healing, and moving on, because we want to be ready. Thank you so much, Chido. Thank you so much, guys. I encourage that you participate and you become very active so that I can also check your questions. Some of the things that I will be touching on are questions that have obviously been sent as well. Thank you so much for those who are saying ready. Awesome. So as I said, when you have gone through a divorce, or you're thinking about a divorce, or you have gone through a divorce, or you're in the process, you need to ask yourself, what is it that you want when you find yourself in this type of situation? Do you actually want to heal? Do you want to get over the pain? Do you want to get over the agony of the loss that you are feeling, right? Do you want to find a way to move on? Because sometimes people say they want to move on, but they don't actually action the moving on part. Do you want to put the divorce or the breakup that you have gone through, or that you are going through, or you are about to go through, behind you? So there is a point that you need to get to, because this is a big loss that is going to happen, or that has happened, and it can leave you traumatized, but there is a point where you need to cut off, right? So it's not a situation where you can say, I'm going to take a time out alone and I can achieve, the healing process by myself. Sometimes you might need to get a bit of support and so forth. So I've seen people who have gone through divorces 3 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, but yet they're still going through the after effects of their divorce or their breakup, right? So even some people who have actually remarried after divorce, they are still carrying the wounds and the bitterness into the new relationship. That's why it's very important that you don't jump into a relationship, because you may carry so much emotional baggage that you now start it's so boring that when you go into a new relationship, you are talking about my ex this, my ex that, and you start this comparative game between your new husband and your old husband, or your new partner and your old partner. So we need to be mindful of these things, right? And one of the things that we need to bear in mind is that when you go through a divorce or a breakup, it is a difficult process. You need to acknowledge this, right? And I want to acknowledge that for somebody who might be thinking about this, who is going through this as well, or who has gone through this as well. So if you ask any person who has gone through a divorce, they will agree that the experience is probably the worst one that they have ever experienced in their life. It's not an easy thing. It's not something that doesn't leave shame behind. People go through several emotions that are very hectic, right? It's sort of like you go through a process where your dreams, go through this, it's appended. Your dreams are appended. It's like your plans for the future are just sort of like just destroyed. I don't know if there's people like that in the audience or in the comment section who want to also give their perspective. Maybe you've gone through, or you know somebody who has gone through this. Maybe you coming from a family that has gone through this, and you can also attest that this speaks to you as well, or something that you have experienced, right? And when you go through a divorce or a breakup, you suddenly experience that you're going through a lot of financial difficulties. There's a lot of changes that happen from a financial front, and there's a lot of changes that happen on a living conditions. So you might find other people, they were used to a certain type of lifestyle, a certain type of comforts. Now suddenly they're not there. Some people stay in abusive relationships and they're scared to actually acknowledge when a relationship is actually dead, because they are used to the comforts of life, and they're used to the car they're driving, they're used to the house that they're living in, and they're worried that if they decide to step out and acknowledge that the thing has ended, there will be these privileges, so to speak, would be taken away. So And the other concerns that also come into play is that sometimes you have pressures from family members on how they're going to react, right? They may take sides. They may take the side of the other party. They may react in so many different ways, and you don't know whether it would be a favorable way to you. And sometimes you want them to take your side, but it might not necessarily be the fair thing to do. And who should say that there should be sides taken in any event? So marriage is like an ecosystem that is in balance, right? Divorce in any way, it will wreck the whole system. It will wreck the whole balance. Nothing. So don't think that anybody who goes through a divorce goes through this like balanced mental state or balanced physical state, balanced anything. So everything is a wreck, right? So if you've never been previously in a divorce, I can tell you that even if it's your first time, you will find yourself in a situation where you do not know what to do. You will simply not know what to do. And it's okay to acknowledge and say, I'm in uncharted waters. I don't know what to do, right? So think about this, that, nobody who goes into a marriage ever thinks that their marriage will ever fail, right? But half marriages do. Half of the marriages that people go through, they do fail. Sometimes because the foundations are wrong. So if the foundations were wrong, if the foundations were broken, if the thing fails, don't beat yourself up about it, right? So, and nobody receives instructions on what exactly to do. And that is what I'm hoping to equip you through this process, because as we go through, and I will mention the 10 types of blocks or steps or processes that I normally go through when I do a workshop on divorce recovery and how to go through divorce. I mean, there's things that you go through when you talk about children, when you talk about the legal aspects, the financial aspects. There's so many things that we would intensely work through so that we understand how to cope and how to recover and how to move on. And as I said, I'm not only speaking to the situation of divorce, but I'm also speaking to the situation of partnership, because as you know, we have cohabitation. Right? Yes, we are Christians, but we have to acknowledge that there are people who are cohabiting and people who are in so-called partnerships, people who are just simply dating, but there is an amalgamation of some sort of assets, material things, and all those things. And all these things come into play because they talk into finances. Guys, if you have any questions, please make sure you are popping them in the comment section, and I will be checking in the comment section just now and again as well. So, and as I said, you never consider that you never receive instructions on how to behave. I've seen people who misbehave. There's no better word to actually use but to say people misbehave during their divorces. You find people who are historically known as being very sweet suddenly being, called vampires and so forth like that, because people don't like it when their whole life gets disturbed, so to speak. People don't like it when you suddenly take away things that they thought, this was my pension, basically. This is my policy. This is how I thought things were going to end up. So if somebody takes something away from you and rips it apart from you, you go on this defensive mode, you go in this fighting mode, and people fight each other. They forget that there are children involved. They just go out for blood. Some people just lie there timidly, which is also not necessarily the way that you should go. When we get to the legal part, obviously that one will have to do in closed sessions, because I will not be able to give you the legal advice on the platform of Facebook or YouTube. So that has to be in a closed setting, and obviously the terms and conditions would be different for that. And I hope that you will be empowered when we get to that point. So as a result, like most people, when you're going through a breakup or a divorce, you will be feeling lost. So maybe when you are going through, as we're going through this chat, you can also type in the comment section so that I can see whether you are taking notes on the aspects that I am raising as well. So the truth is that much has been learned through this process, as I said, through my coaching, my counseling, or giving advice from a legal perspective. But tonight, as I said, we are looking at how to heal, how do we move on, and how do we get closure post a divorce and post a breakup. Single people are the worst in terms of, and I call them single, but those who are not necessarily married within their legal laws type of sense, meaning like you didn't go to home affairs or you didn't get lobola or dowry or whatever, but you were basically dating and you guys probably stayed together or you have a child together. You know, they have this sense of, I need closure. And you need to define what exactly is closure for you, right? What is that closure? Some people hang out too long in relationships in the name of wanting closure. And you need to ask yourself as an individual, is your closure going to be when you find the person sleeping with somebody else? Is your closure when you find out that they've got a child outside? So there needs to be a point where you define how you want yourself to be treated. How much pain are you willing to go through? Because when somebody rejects you and somebody doesn't want you, they don't want you, and you need to wake up and smell the coffee and say, I'm not doing this. I'm just simply not in this. I don't know if I'm communicating. Good evening to those who are joining us. Today we are talking about a subject matter of relationships. We're talking about divorces and breakups and how do we heal from those types of scenarios. And you might not be going through that, but you might know somebody, and this information might be equipping you to help that person as well. So if you're going to heal, as the old expression says, if you're going to get something out of anything, it depends on what are you willing to put in. So these chats that we're about to have over the next few weeks as well, they're designed, yes, to help you heal. They're designed to help you learn from your experience, to plan for the future, and to begin to take action to build a new fulfilling life to yourself. I know it's something that is not really customary spoken about, especially in the church setup, because people want to believe that nobody ever gets divorced. You would be actually shocked how many Christians go through this, how many Christians are too afraid to go through it, and they want to sit inside the pain and go through it. That is why we have seen such a huge rise of gender-based violence within the Christian community. So as I said, we're going to go through 10 lessons or processes or steps that will hopefully help us to accomplish all that we need to do, and we're going to have to put in the time and the effort. For those who would want to go intensely, for example, in the group coaching sessions that we would then focus on. So each section or each step that we are going to look at, we will go through the insights, the recommendations, and the action steps that will direct you or whoever needs the help how to move forward to that point of healing and closure. So I urge everybody to listen carefully and attempt to understand all the ideas that I will be bringing forth, and make sure you are commenting in the comment section. For those that would want a workbook that would actually help them practically, those would be made available as well. So, are you guys ready? Somebody type ready, ready, ready. If you are ready, type ready. Okay, so we're not going to take the easy way out, right? We're going to put in the time and the effort to work through these things so that we don't have to go through the same thing again when we go through another relationship, when we move on after we have healed, right? So settle in your mind. Thousands of people have been divorced and they have moved on. They are leading happy and fulfilled lives. Some of them chose to stay single. Some of them chose to remarry. But we're going to continue. The first question I want us to consider is, what is the difference between growing through your divorce and going through a divorce? And this is the point I want us to discuss. There's a difference when you decide that you're going to grow through your breakup or through your divorce, and that you're going to go through a divorce or a breakup. There is a huge difference, right? Sadly, most divorced people or people who break up, they struggle through their divorce and never really heal They never really learn anything from it or progress from it. That is why I'm saying it is important that we grow through any breakup or through any divorce. Let's not, because some people even end up in, behaving very childish, as I said. And I wanted to make an example of baby mamas and daddies, baby daddies that are just having a lot of drama. You don't have to do that, guys. It's possible to part ways in an amicable way and everything is okay. So, often they simply, the people, you'll find that people bury themselves in bitterness. They quickly find a replacement partner. That is not necessarily the way to go, right? You need to spend time going through your healing process. So let us examine what it takes to grow through the divorce. Not necessarily we just going through it, because if we just go through it, we're just going through the emotions, but we want to grow from the divorce. So let us look at the word grow. What does it mean? To grow means that you are going to advance, right? When you advance, you are moving forward. You are not stuck. What does it mean to grow? To grow means that you're going to branch out. You're going to expand beyond the life you've had. So don't limit yourself and say, I was living such a nice life. He bought me this car, or she bought me this car. And, but see yourself advancing beyond. See yourself branching out into new territories, doing new things, new careers. There is so much life that can come in, and you branch out. What does it mean to grow through your breakup? It means you're going to develop yourself. You're going to realize your potentials that are inside of you. There might be untapped potentials that are inside of you that you need to work through, that you never knew. Some people were home executives during their relationships, during their marriages. They didn't have any other skills. Some people had to forgo their skills. They had to forgo their careers so that they can be housewives, house husbands. Now you need to realize, what is it that I carry? What is it that I've developed? What are the skills that I picked up from this marriage? Where am I going to next? What does it mean to grow through your breakup? It means that you need to expand yourself. You need to increase the scope of your activities. You cannot be all about just taking the children to work or to school and bringing them home only anymore, because now suddenly you realize that you need activities that are going to engage you, that are going to engage your mind, that are going to free you up, that you're going to meet new people and start the healing process. You cannot be stuck in the same behaviors that you were doing. Otherwise, you're going to feel that whole, you are in a rut, you are stuck. What does it mean to grow from that breakup? It means that you need to flourish. You need to start seeing yourself being able to thrive and to prosper. What does it mean to grow? It means that you need to mature. What does it mean to mature, Fortune? It means that you need to mentally develop yourself. You cannot tell yourself that what made you stay there for the 10, 14 years or whatever is going to be the same thing that will carry you forward. So mentally, you need to develop yourself, because now suddenly the world opens up to you. You suddenly realize that you are still on version 2.0. Meanwhile, the world is on version 0.900 something like that. I hope I'm communicating. What does it mean to grow? It means that you're going to have to show up, to life. You need to show life. You need to function. You must not be dead inside of you. You need to show up. You need to show life. You need to show people that you are active. You cannot be dead inside of you. What does it mean to grow? It means you need to spring up, to move out of one place or the other. Spring out of your situation. You need to grow. What does it mean to grow? It means you need to start stretching yourself. You need to reach or extend yourself into untried areas. Stretch yourself. Do things you have never done before. You might have even been in an emotional abusive relationship that they kept on telling you, or a verbally abusive relationship. They told you wouldn't amount to anything. They told you that you wouldn't really get anywhere. You need to stretch out of that kind of zone. You need to understand that you can grow from your breakup. Am I communicating? So this is what I want you to personally achieve. I want you to advance. I want you to expand your possibilities. I want you to realize your untapped potentials. I want you to learn that what happened in your divorce or your breakup is not the end of you. It is not your destination. I want you to realize and understand that you can function again. You can fully function. Don't be so debilitated that you cannot move, that you cannot do anything. Move out from that old dead place and stretch yourself forth to flourish and achieve a new and fulfilling life. Somebody shout, yes, it's possible in those comment section. Somebody shout, yes, it's possible. Right? You can flourish, you can grow. Don't just go through it and just say, I just wish this divorce can be over. Divorces can take 3-5 years sometimes. Yes, sometimes some of them can take 3 weeks, but it can go through so long. Some people go through a breakup for 3 years because they're still waiting for closure. They didn't understand that the first time the person said it's not working, you were just waiting for another definition of it's not working. Don't wait. I always share this lesson, especially when I do seminars, that my mother used to say, don't wait for a person to break up with you. You can usually tell the signs when somebody's going to break up with you. Don't allow yourself to stay in that situation. Yes, if you want to save the thing, you can negotiate and talk about it. But when you realize that other person says, I'm done, they're done. When they say they're done, believe them, they're saying they're done. You cannot force anybody else to stay with you, right? So this is what the series is all about. It's all about helping us to be patient and to take those baby steps to pull ourselves out of the nightmare of divorces, of relationships that have gone sour and breakups that have gone sour, that we feel lost. We feel like, my God, that, our children will not survive this. Sometimes we make excuses. It's you who thinks you can survive, because some of our kids are very resilient, right? So if you're going to go through a divorce, you've got a better chance that you're going to win at the end. If you're going to go through a breakup, you've got a better chance that you're going to win, right? And you giving yourself a better opportunity. Let's contrast it and look at what does it mean to just go through. Right? What does it look like for people who just go through their divorce rather than growing through it, right? Here are some of the things that may characterize this process. You are stuck. You feel that you are stuck. You are frozen. You are unable to act. People who just go through divorces, they remain in denial that they are divorced or they are going through the breakup or they broke up. Don't be in denial. It happened. It happens. Smell the coffee and move on. You remain bitter. If you are just going to go through the divorce, you're going to remain bitter. You're going to remain angry. You're going to remain remorseful, right? You're going to go through these emotions. And I'm asking the question whether is it worth it to stay in that kind of like mode, that pity-party mode. You will be feeling like, you are steeped in guilt. You're going to go through some of these emotions nonetheless, but you will have to make a decision at that point and say, am I going to go through this or am I going to grow through this? You must make a decision and say, I will not be feeling guilty, right? Right? You're going to feel guilty and you feel like, I failed in this marriage. No, decide, am I going through this or am I growing through this rather? People who go through divorces, they perpetually play, if only this happened, if only I had done this, if only I had done that or been this or that to him or to her. Listen, if only will not help, they left. This is the reality. This is where you are. You cannot try and explain and reason this and say, if only I did 1, 2, 3, they would not have left, right? When you're going through the divorce, instead of growing, you obsess about what your former spouse or partner acted like, or what she did or what he did, right? You encourage your friends to choose sides. You encourage your family to choose sides against your ex because you want them to continuously be patting you on the back and telling you, it's not your fault. You know what? They're going to realize what they've lost. Yes, they will realize what they lost by losing you. But please get out of those pity parties where you just want people to take sides and be pampering you the whole way. It happened. Some of the mistakes would have come from you, but it happened, right? When you're going through, instead of growing through, you continue to fight with your ex. Have you seen those people that continuously fight with their exes? They always find a reason to complain about one or the other. The maintenance did not arrive on time. It arrived 2 days late, and then everybody just catches a frantic, everybody just wants to suddenly sue everybody. There's just drama everywhere. Instead of looking after the kids. People who are just going through, instead of growing, they think about their divorces or their breakups 24/7. I mean, there's nothing that occupies this person's mind. They are just having this continuous prayer point over this one particular issue. I don't know if I'm communicating. Says they are gone. Sis Audrey. I like that comment, right? If you're going through instead of growing through, you become that person that allows their exes to control them. They control you, your ex controls you, or you try to control your ex. Have you seen those kind of people that want to control their ex? Even after you have parted ways, you want to control their assets. You want to control when they see the children. You don't want to honor the divorce decree. You don't want to honor the settlement agreement. You just always find drama. So those people who don't want to grow, they repeat their story to everyone who will listen. Every time they will find a way of just fitting this topic. They are just sitting with somebody and suddenly they start, if I didn't go through my divorce, my divorce this, my divorce that. At some point, minimum 2 years, but we have to move on, right? I'm not saying that there's a cutoff time for you to mourn the whole thing and move on, but at least at some point you need to stop talking about this thing, because the more you talk about it, the more it comes back. The people who don't want to grow through their divorces, they encourage their children to spy on their exes. When the children go to visit at the exes, who was daddy with, who was mommy with, they want to know who is the new Mrs. How does she behave? Does she even cook well? I think I even cook like better than her. How are he? Can you imagine how that can drive you nuts? That can drive you absolutely ballistic. I don't know about you, right? Imagine what they put through their children. Obviously, that's not me and you, of course, but them. They put their children through so much stress, right? They blame their ex for all their problems. The fact that you cannot find a job, you blame your ex. Yes, they might have told you to leave your job and to become a house executive, but at some point, baby girl, you had the power in your hands. You just never wanted to use it. So I'm saying, let's plan well for our future. They might have made you take the decision that you are the one who's going to stay home and look after the kids, yes. But now that this is over, where are you picking up from? That is why self-development is always so important, that you equip yourself. And often, yes, I talk to women, and I'm saying, women, equip yourself. Equip yourselves, even when you are sitting at home, because I don't believe that a woman who is, even in marriage, even if you are a home executive, are you developing yourself? Because a man, when you come and become a helper to a man, you are supposed to expand him. He's supposed to increase, not decrease, not remain the same. If you enter into a man's life and he's got 10,000 rand and he does not increase, you have failed in your job. That's my view. I don't know how the audience feels about this. If you don't succeed in increasing that man, then something is wrong. That is why I'm saying there is no way you can stop self-development, even if you are at home, even if you are a stay-at-home mom. What are you bringing to the table in terms of complimenting him, even if he's the one working and you are staying at home? If you are going to stay in a particular standard and you just remain mediocre, he is obviously going to start seeing other people. If you're not careful, you must always intellectually stimulate your husband or your partner so that they understand that, listen, you staying at home does not mean that you are an empty tin. You staying at home does not mean that you don't have something to contribute when you are discussing about the family finances, the family wealth, the family business and all these things. You must always be contributing. So what I'm saying, ladies, let us be versatile. Let us just, spruce up ourselves, Nyana, and just move on and get somewhere. People who are not growing through their breakups, they stay vengeful. They like revenging. They want to avenge. They are always threatening and scheming. If you don't do this, I'm not going to bring the child. If you do this, I'm going to show him. I'm going to make sure that the child asks for this 1, 2, 3. What are you trying to destroy? If you keep on I'm looking for the English word, but only the Afrikaans word comes to me right now. But if you keep on, you want to destroy the man. You want to, and I'm sorry that these examples maybe are more for the women. If you destroy where he is financially and you are scheming because you are vengeful, think about this. If he goes down, how is he going to support the children in the future? I'm just saying. Equally, for the men, if you keep on thinking that you're going to bring down the woman because they are asking you to pay for maintenance and you want to destroy them, you know that you are the one who is actually well off enough to take care of the children, but you keep on wanting to destroy the woman's life, their financial standing, because you want to be revenging them. You are vengeful, right? Who is suffering here? Is it not the children? What do you gain from making the other party suffer? Because people can be vengeful, especially in the financial area. I see that, the reality is people are not on the same income bandwidth, right? I can't believe I even called it a bandwidth. People are not on the same income level. So you find that even the other person who does not, the other person earns 20,000 rand, the other one earns 3,000 rands, but yet you want to contribute equally. Meanwhile, 10,000 was going to the upkeep of the children and the school fees. How does it tally? You see revenge. Let me not go into that too much deep, but you cannot demand from somebody who's earning 3,000 rands income that they must contribute equally for you. Meanwhile, your expenses for your children are 10,000 rand. It doesn't work like that. So women need to ask the right questions. And I'm dabbling on the legal aspects here. You need to ask the right questions. When you go before the judge or the magistrate, depending on which jurisdiction you're from, get your mind thinking where you understand the finances. That is why breakups and divorces are a process that you need consultation, you need coaching, you need to be looking at certain aspects. You can't go through these things alone. Otherwise, you make a mess of everything. But let me come back to it, right? So people who don't want to grow through their breakups, they suffer declining emotional and physical health. I think you have seen that. I saw somebody recently, they had lost so much weight. So even if the person can say everything is fine, but you can see on their face, you can see physically that this thing is taking an emotional toll. Whether you like it or not, you will not need Herbalife for this one. You will not need slimming tablets for this one, right? For those of you who are outside of South Africa, but I think Herbalife is international. You will not even need to be put on weight loss program, but you will go through it automatically. So people who don't want to grow through their breakups, they search for someone to rescue them because they always want to be on a rescue ship kind of thing. How am I doing for time? Okay, I'm almost there. Foster says no slimming tea here, right? Some people who don't want to grow, they will remarry quickly because they cannot function without a marriage. You just feel like, I have to be married. I always made fun of my friends. I said, sometimes some people are just in love of the idea of being married. They just cannot divorce themselves from the idea of being married. And it's very difficult probably because, when you think about the fact that there are certain benefits obviously that come with marriage, that when you stop doing them, suddenly you can easily find yourself slaying up and down and doing all those things. But let me leave it like that. So guys, divorce is a very painful place to be. You don't want to be there. That is why I think the foundation when we started Relationship Tuesdays was to say, let's look at starting relationships on a proper foundation, on a proper godly foundation, so that you have a fighting chance. The family is really under attack. The family is under serious attack generally. And we need to now start forming families that are going to flourish, families that are really going to be functional. There's a terminology that says there are a lot of dysfunctional families. Let's offer our children a fighting chance to have both parents in that relationship. I hope I'm communicating. So it is a painful place. And for you to get to the other side and to flourish, it will require you to be active in 4 areas. How many did I say? 4 areas. It will require you firstly to heal. You will have to go through the healing process, number 1. Number 2, you will have to go through a learning process. Number 3, you will have to go through a planning process. Number 4, you will have to go through a process where you take certain actions, right? So what did I say? Did you guys catch it? I said healing, learning, planning, and acting, right? So the purpose of, as I said, of these kind of like mini workshops that we will go through is to go through these processes where we learn how to heal, we learn a few things, and we plan, and we see what we need to act. Just to give you an overview, and I'm going to wrap up now so that we can hopefully anticipate next week. The first step we're going to go through is the healing process. Secondly, the topic that we're going to go through is how do we quit our marriage or our relationships, right? How do you quit for those who are still to go through it? And in that, we're going to look at how do we end the war and end the control that the ex has over you, right? You've gone through the divorce. They are controlling you. How do you end that process so that you can be a functional human being who is moving on? How do you end the war? How do you accept, this is now step number 3, how do you accept your new identity as a single person, because you need to know how to function as a single person. It's not easy when you are used to having Mr. So-and-so, Mrs. So-and-so, you're used to flashing your ring around, you're used to doing your praise the Lord, hallelujah, and everything. So there's a lot of changes that come from there. Step number 4, how to learn from your divorce. What are you going to learn from that process so that when you remarry, you don't become like, is it Jackie O who remarried so many times? So how do you learn from the divorce? Step number 5, what we're going to look at, how do we take the responsibility for ourselves and our children, right? How do you take responsibility for yourself and your children? Number 6, we're going to look at how to become better single parents, right? And this is something, as you can hear, the topics I'm planning for us to discuss are going to cover even just people who are going through single parenting and all that. So number 7, we're going to look at how to live in the present and let go of the past. How to learn from live in the present rather, and let go of the past. How do we plan for our future? Number 8. Number 9, we're going to look at how to get closure on our breakups. Number 10, we're going to look at how to know when we are ready to date or remarry. So there is no quick fix. Some people will try to get the quick fixes. Remember, it takes a few years sometimes to go through this thing and fully heal. Don't rush the process. Don't skip any of the steps that I've basically plotted out as well. There might be more steps depending on who is counseling you and all that. But if you try to avoid mourning your loss, you will never emotionally heal. So I want to offer that kind of like branch type of thing to say, mourn whatever you need to go through. We are here for you as a family, right? You will need to emotionally heal, and you will need to mentally detach yourself from your ex. You need to actively detach yourself, remove yourself from your ex. You are likely to continue to have him or her control you or your emotions sometimes, but and sometimes they do this in a very subtle way, right? But it's very bad for you. So you need to detach yourself. And if you don't fully accept that you are now single, you will not truly appreciate all that status. Singleness comes with some benefits. There's a new status altogether, new identity. You need to grab that opportunity. If you don't do that, you're going to continually stay stuck. If you don't learn from what happened in your marriage or your relationship that led to the divorce or the breakup and what your role in it was, you may be doomed, right? We want to make sure that you don't repeat the mistakes with the next person that you may become serious with in terms of dating or you want to marry, right? If you don't take complete responsibility for yourself, you will remain vulnerable, right? Who will you remain vulnerable to? There will be people that come to you and call themselves saviors. We don't want you to remain vulnerable, right? They will come to you and they say they want to rescue you, but they are also coming and they want to control you. Now, those are, what do you call them again? Narcissists, right? You don't want to be a victim of narcissistic behaviors and narcissistic people. And if you decide not to take responsibility for your children, and learn to become a successful single parent, you will miss out on the opportunity to be important in your children's life, to helping them become successful, right? If you don't live in the present moment in your new life, you will stay focused on your hurtful past. You become like a broken record. Every time people talk to you, you just always regurgitating what happened to you in the past, and you just become very boring, and people won't want to hang out with you because they realize that you are bound to your old problems. You will just be a continuous prayer point, and people will be wondering, do you not get to the point where you are delivered? And if you don't plan for your future and take responsibility for executing your plans and your future plans, you will never achieve your potentials, as I said. So if you don't learn how to get closure in your marriage, what will happen? You will stay in the old life, and you will always just be dragging old baggage into the relationship. Lastly, if you don't learn what you need to achieve to be ready to date and consider remarriage, you are likely to remarry the wrong person under the pressures that divorce or a breakup will create, and find yourself unhappy or breaking up again. So I hope this introduction that we have gone through has actually helped to position where we are going. I think I'm going to leave out the diagnosis part because we need to go through certain diagnostic questions to find out exactly where we are. So because of time, I'm going to wrap up here for tonight. Do we have any questions? I'm going to check out. Neo says, let's go Stella. Is that the Stella got a groove back kind of thing vibe? So if there's any questions, please make sure you are popping it in the comment section very quickly. But otherwise, I think some of the comments that I've seen from the other platforms I've covered also in my talk. So ladies and gentlemen, I hope that this has been educational and that you learned something. If you learned something from tonight, please press 1. If you appreciated the talk tonight, please comment 1. Just type the number 1. If you didn't learn anything, comment number 2. Let me see those numbers. Type 1 if you learned, type 2 if you didn't learn. Type 1 if you learned something and you appreciated this talk. Type number 2 if you didn't. I'm waiting, guys. I think people fell asleep. Okay. Oh, Lawrence, thank you so much, my angel. Thank you so much. Alberto, how are you, my friend from Peru? Thank you so much. So, guys, yeah, Alberto is watching from Fortunate Online. He's in Peru, South Mexico, my good friend. Awesome. Alberto, if somebody's watching from Peru, I'll send you some divorced clients. So great stuff. You guys typed, oh, okay, I'm seeing the ones. Hi, Masiho. Good to see you, my angel. Thank you so much, guys. Okay, great. Let's wrap up for tonight. We'll see each other next week on Relationship Tuesday again. So, yeah, great, guys. Have a beautiful evening. Thank you so much for having joined me tonight. Ciao.